Good evening and welcome back to the public portion of the regular council meeting for Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025, and we are reconvening at 8:12 p.m. We had an extensive in-camera session, and there are a couple of motions coming out of that. Councillor Wegener.
Okay, I'm ready for the motion, and I move that council direct administration to bring option 2 as presented during item 3.2 of the July 23rd, 2025 regular council meeting agenda, which is for the construction of an NHL-sized arena along with required dressing rooms, facility, operation spaces, spectator areas, and connections to Westmount School for the consideration during the 2026 budget deliberation meetings. And that council direct administration to undertake community engagement around the potential of option 2, and that council direct administration to authorize an operating budget amendment from the community engagement in the amount of $25,000 from the Financial Stabilization Reserve. And if I could talk to this?
Yep.
I will be supporting this motion. I think Strathmore is short on ice surfaces and that. I reached out to some of the community groups. There's in and around the neighborhood of 600 to 700 people that use with the facility. So Strathmore Minor Hockey has close to 300 people registered on their teams. There is a Wheatland female hockey program that has approximately 115 girls on it. There will be a new U13 AAA team coming to Strathmore with approximately 20 people there. We look at the Strathmore minor hockey use. A lot of the teams are practicing 50% in the outlying communities, playing a third to half of their games, their home games, out of town. Some groups are splitting ice times when full ice surfaces would be appropriate. Strathmore Minor Hockey would like to provide other skill-based sessions such as power skating, but the limited amount of ice prevents that, and the skaters go to Calgary. Going back to the numbers here, the Wheatland AA system has approximately 109 players in it, and then the figure skating has approximately 195 skaters. They do 2 showcases a year plus all their training, and again, potential growth would allow them to do more. So I will be supporting this motion because I think it's desperately needed in the town. Thank you.
Thank you. And now that we have a motion on the floor, we can have discussion. Is there discussion or comments from councillors? Councillor Wiley?
Yeah, this is a tough one. So what we're being asked to consider is not whether or not we think the town needs a new arena, but is this the location? Is this the time to build a new arena? Not arena, sorry, my apologies. Is this the place, and is this the time to add a rink? I'm in favor of adding another rink to Strathmore, but I don't think this one is the solution. What we should be doing first is establishing some type of a rink or arena committee, which includes members from, of course, Golden Hills, but also Christ the Redeemer, members from Wheatland, community groups, all the different stakeholders that are involved, all the different organizations. We should be having a committee there that's going to make recommendations to council on what's the best way forward. I suspect the best way forward would be to add a 3rd sheet of ice to the current arena. I like that way forward because the operation costs are going to be too high putting it next to the Westmount School. We're duplicating staff, and we're only going to be putting all that operations and machinery and equipment into running 1 sheet of ice. I do think the location is too small. There's too little parking. There's too little room for growth. It's with hesitancy that I will not be supporting this motion.
Thank you. Councillor Langmead.
Thank you, Worship. This has been in discussion for a while now, and it's one that I've spent a lot of time noodling over. What I know is that currently we have about 93 to 95% utilization of our current arena. And we are anticipating growth and additional strain on our current facilities with the growth that's anticipated in our community. And the synergies that are possible in partnering with Golden Hills School Division on this project are an opportunity for the community. What I think it's important for the community to know, and what I'm hoping the public will hear us discussing tonight, is this is not the approval of the arena, of an arena. This is the approval of hearing more about the arena at the next budget session. So this is not approving the money for an arena. This is approving $25,000 for community engagement, and that we will be able to discuss this arena, the potential for this arena again in the future at the next budget meeting, and that will be the new council. So I will be supporting this tonight because I think it is a worthy opportunity for us to pursue, and one that's worth a lot of close consideration and discussion between this council and future councils, and it's one that I'd like to see continue to move forward before a final decision is made. Thank you.
Any other comments? I have a couple of things I'll say. I think, again, as Councillor Langmaid said, this motion is just to send this concept, this idea, to the fall budgeting meetings to allow, and it will allow for public engagement regarding this concept so we can get public feedback. This potential ice surface will take the younger hockey ringette players, skaters out of the Twin Arena that we currently have, and it'll free up ice time for many, many families so they don't have to travel to practices in winter conditions. The other intriguing thing I like about this is it's a very similar concept to the Strathmore Motor Products Sports Centre, which is attached to George Freeman School, and it's also similar to how we attached the Aquatic Centre, Civic Centre to Strathmore High School. So there are definitely opportunities for collaboration and partnership on this. The other thing that I think hasn't been mentioned is Golden Hills School Division is also prepared to work with the town of Strathmore to create a joint use agreement that would allow more access to all of the Golden Hills schools in their theaters, gyms, possibly even classrooms. So this kind of a project can domino into other things as well. So we can also look after the arts community at this time if this project gets approved. But this is really just to send it to the fall budgeting discussions. So does anyone else have any comments? I will be supporting this motion. Councillor Montgomery.
Oh, did Councillor Peterson want to go first?
No, she's okay with you speaking.
No, she can go first. That's okay. I can wait.
Councillor Peterson.
Thank you, Your Worship. I do support the motion. I think it's good to be able to go and have a look. And I believe that stakeholders from Christ the Redeemer and all the rest of the community will be invited to weigh in on this, and certainly we would really welcome them to be able to do so. And in terms of using the option to add a third sheet of ice to the existing arena, we've had advice in the past about the challenges in being able to add a third sheet of ice to a 30-year-old building and what that would mean for the longevity of the existing building and joining it to that it wouldn't necessarily be a good decision. Also, this community is anticipating significant growth in the very, very near future. If we could meet the need that exists today, or look at how we can meet the need today as per Councillor Wagner's motion, it would also give us time to plan for future community needs as per our recent recreation study, because we know that with the growth and in time, we are going to need probably 2 more ice sheets. We're going to need a new curling rink, and we're going to need a swimming pool. So it will give us the time and the opportunity to plan and save and seek partnerships for being able to do those very, very necessary and fulsome things that will meet the needs of the community well beyond my lifetime. So I do think that this motion is something that brings a lot of wisdom and a lot of certainty in terms of the possibilities of planning. And as Councillor Langmaid said, we're not committing the money tonight. We're just committing to taking a very active look.
Thank you. Councillor Montgomery, followed by Deputy Mayor Mitzner.
Thank you. So as I've kind of mentioned before, this is probably about the fourth time we've seen, maybe even, I've probably seen maybe 5 different arena opportunities roll past in my time on council. Some with stakeholders or with partners who were willing to fund, the capital costs, and make other sorts of kind of donation opportunities. And I don't believe, we've spent a lot of money in the past surveying the community. We have these recreation and culture needs assessments, that we do. We spend, tens of thousands of dollars on those. We have consistently received feedback from the community that their priorities are things like arts and culture, that they want to see some sort of arts and culture. And to speak to the idea of these joint use partnership agreements, or JUPAs, so these are things that we as council should be pushing forward, regardless, of what's happening with this particular arena option. These JUPAs have been talked about for years. It's not something that needs to be tied to a new arena at all. Regardless of what happens with the arena, we should be, pushing these things forward. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be also listening to the community. And the community has said very clearly that they want arts and culture, and more importantly, they want I believe it's called spontaneous recreation opportunities, and things like walking paths to be focused on. While there might be hundreds of people in the community who use the arena, who would love to have in a new arena, there are thousands of people in the community, probably over 10,000 people, who don't want a new arena. They don't want to see their taxes go up. They don't want to have to spend the money that it will cost to maintain and staff a new arena. They don't want that. And we need to listen to those people. And, this isn't just, just kind of kicking the tires, because we're talking about spending real money, real $25,000, which, it's nothing to scoff at, really, when you think about the fact that a 1% tax increase is, anywhere from $150,000 to, $175,000. So, $25,000 here, $25,000 there, those add up to, a percentage of a tax increase, pretty quickly. And so I don't think we need to even spend that money to find out from the community. There's an election coming soon. Anybody that wants to run on the idea of spending tens of millions of dollars on a new arena is more than welcome to go out there and poll the public themselves and get the votes. And then come in here and build a new arena if that's what they have been elected specifically to do. But we don't need to waste that money right now. We can if all this is just basically kicking it forward to the next council, then why don't we just kick it forward? But let's not spend the $25,000. In fact, I'm going to make an amendment. I'm going to amend the motion to remove spending $25,000 to engage the public on this issue. So I'll leave that motion for us to vote on, I guess, right now. Thank you.
Just a question for you as far as your amendment. How would you engage the public then? What are your thoughts on engaging the public?
Well, as I just said, anybody that wants to run for council for this upcoming election in a few months, they can. So the idea is out there now. Does the town want to spend? Does the community want to spend tens of millions of dollars on a new arena instead of all these other priorities that they have put before us in the culture needs assessment that came a new arena came in at 18th on the list. So you know, there's 17 other things that we should be focusing our money and resources on. Not to mention things like, you know, the new police station and the new fire hall and stuff like that. You know, so there's kind of needs, and then there's these other things. But yeah, so anyway, sorry. Yeah, thank you.
So then, just to clarify, if we were to, if the council supported your amendment, it would be to do away with spending the money on getting public engagement and just letting an election take care of it then?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just if the vote wants to move forward to pass this to the next council to look at, then you know that's what the first part of the vote seems to do. But then we can save the town and the taxpayers the money of the $25,000, hopefully.
All right, thank you. Deputy Mayor Mitzner, you had your hand up.
Yes, so I will fully support going forward. Our community's been given two wonderful opportunities, a brand new K-9 school in Westmount, and another option to joint venture once again with the Golden Hill School District. The high school and pool was a success, and George Freeman Sportsplex was a success, and I'm confident that this will be a success for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan?
Thank you, Worshiping Council. Just, if possible, just want to clarify the Councillor Montgomery's motion to amend the motion. Were we deleting the third portion and the second portion, or just the third portion? So is the motion reading as that council amend the motion to delete and that council directed administration to undertake community engagement around potential of option 2, and that council directed administration to authorize an operating budget amendment for the community engagement in the amount of $25,000 from the financial stabilization reserve, or was it just the last part of that?
So I guess, yeah, so it would be that to remove the 25,000 and then not do community engagement.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
I have a question too, but you can ask yours first.
So, Your Worship, my question is related to process. And can an amendment change the intent of a motion completely? And does this fall under that capacity? And I'm really uncertain, so I'm looking for direction, because it appears to change the intent, but that might only be my interpretation.
Jonathan?
Ultimately, this would be a ruling of the chair. However, the question is the interpretation. Would you say removing those second two and that's would then contradict the first motion or not? Right now, the motion, if the amendment were to go ahead, the motion would read that council direct administration to bring option 2 as presented during item 3.2 of the July 23rd, 2025 regular council meeting agenda, which is for the construction of an NHL-sized arena with required dressing rooms, facility, operation spaces, spectator areas, and connection to Westmount School for consideration during the 2026 budget deliberation meetings. I believe that motion would give administration clarity of what to do. Yeah.
So then you're saying that this amendment that Councillor Montgomery has put forward is fine. It won't affect the intent of the original motion.
I believe the motion would provide administration clarity about what we're being directed to do.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go back to Councillor Montgomery.
Oh, thank you. Just, yeah, so what Jonathan was saying, so the motion, as I understand it, I mean, so my amendment is to remove those two parts, but it would leave the intent of the motion the same, which is to bring the idea back to the next council for their deliberation. So my motion is basically to save the $25,000, not spend the $25,000 to ask the public what they want to do.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Yeah, on any other comments on the amendment? I have a question as far, maybe Mark can answer this. Mark, can you tell me do you know the number of respondents to that culture and recreation survey?
Through Your Worship, are you defining by the number of responses household surveys or community groups that were participated in? There's many elements of engagement.
Okay.
We had household surveys, approximately 300 or so, I believe.
Okay.
then we engaged a number of community groups through an email, an emailer, and asked them for their respondents. And then we also had a number of community associations that participated in what I would call as focus groups to talk about the needs assessments.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments on the amendment? Councilor Montgomery, did you still want to speak?
No, sorry. I'll
Okay.
lower my hand. Thank you.
Thank you. So if there's no further discussion, I'll call the question on the amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion the amending motion has been defeated. So now we have the original motion on the floor. Councillor Peterson and then Councillor Wiley.
Your Worship, I was just wondering, so Councillor Montgomery mentioned that we had previous groups come forward offering to fund the capital cost of an arena. I don't recall that happening during me sitting here. I know that we did have someone come forward offering a mortgage opportunity on.
There was a leasing opportunity.
Yeah,
I believe
yeah.
the group was going to potentially build a twin arena, and then we would lease it for 30 years, after which we had the option then to purchase the building, but the leasing wouldn't go towards the purchasing. And then, so in addition to the leasing payments that we would have on the arena built by another group, in addition to those lease payments, we would be paying operations. And then after a period of, I believe, 30 years, we would have the option to then buy the building outright, which would be, we found at the time, we felt that it wasn't a practical decision because you'd be buying a 30-year-old building after paying lease payments for 30 years. So it just didn't work out to be something that council supported at the time.
And it was a unanimous decision on the
Yeah, I
Board of
believe it
Council of the
was.
day that we didn't support that. And then the other thing about the process in terms of this, the arena did come in 18th, as Councillor Montgomery said, but there were many other aspects to the recreational studies report that came forward to council, and one of them was with regards to usage. And as Councillor Wagner pointed out, the current usage is maxed out at the current arena. And so there were many other, and there were other elements as well, other than just preferences in terms of this comprehensive study that was brought to council that talked about priorities and planning and priorities. So I think that all of them need to be considered in the fullness, as well as the ones that Councillor Montgomery brought up very legitimately. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wiley?
Again, I'm not necessarily against building an arena, but what we are debating, I keep hearing councillors saying that all we're debating is just bringing this forward at budget time. I don't think I think the decision is much bigger than that. There is a decision being made tonight, and it's not neutral. We're indicating to residents, we're indicating to the province, we're indicating to the school board, we're indicating to parents at Westmount and families that this is the council's intention to move forward on this. So we're certainly creating, if council were to approve this tonight, it's not like at budget time it would be easy for a future council to just walk back from it. There is going to be a certain public perception in the community that this is going to go ahead. And so I just want to be clear, it's not a simple decision tonight. I think it's actually a very big decision tonight. And we are talking an estimated $12 to $20 million arena, depending on the size and the complexity that we go with at budget time. So it's a significant decision.
Thank you for that. Any further comments? I'll call the question. All in favor? And opposed?
Me.
And the motion is carried. Thank you, everyone. And I believe we have another motion coming from Councillor Langmaid concerning the rest of our in-camera items. Councillor Langmaid.
Thank you, Worship. I have a quick motion to amend our agenda for the evening. So the motion reads, I move that council amend the July 23, 2025 regular council meeting to add a second in-camera session as Section 13, and that council defer items 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, and 3.7 of the July 23rd, 2025 regular council meeting to Section 13.
Thank you for that motion. You've all heard the motion. Is there discussion on that motion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
And that motion is carried. We move now to item 4. We don't have a public hearing tonight. Public comments, I don't believe we have any tonight. Anything from the gallery? We have no delegations scheduled for tonight, except we do, sorry. How could I forget Staff Sergeant?
You'll get tased.
Yeah, I'll get tased if I forget. Item 6 is delegations, and it's 6.1 RCMP Quarter 4 Quarterly Report and 2026 Policing Priorities. Good evening, Staff Sergeant.
Good evening, Your Worship. For the presentation, all my comments will be made through the CO to the chair for ease of reference. And again, thank you all for giving me the opportunity to appear before you tonight to provide you an update. Albeit seemingly, when you look at the dates, it feels a little dated, but I guess everyone's schedules are quite busy. But I am happy to be here to provide an update on our Quarter 4 results as well as the close of our last fiscal year results with our annual or with our policing priorities and community safety initiatives within Strathmore. Getting started with respect to our first priority, that being the reduction of property crimes, which includes break-and enters, theft from motor vehicles, and theft of motor vehicles. We continued with our, again, as our noted crime prevention strategies throughout the year, the first being our habitual offender management program. As noted, we were monitoring 14 offenders throughout Quarter 4. As a result of our efforts, 2 of those offenders were charged with offenses related to and unrelated to their conditions while they were in our community. 4 of those offenders completed their conditions without issue, and they've been moved out of the program. 1 was arrested outside of our jurisdiction and was incarcerated, and 2 of them left our area. There'll be more to report coming into Quarter 1, but the program remains quite successful. Our members are committing a time to ensure that those of whom we are aware in our community are, again, abiding by a law-abiding lifestyle. And again, what you see here is not only people who are in Strathmore, but our surrounding areas. Being a geographical location, we're kind of symbiotic in that just because somebody doesn't live in town doesn't mean they may not affect our town residents. Persons who move outside of our habitual offender management program, as noted, move to our persons of interest program. And again, these are people in our community that we just simply maintain contact with and remain familiar with. And again, we'll lend a hand whenever needed if we need to help them, again, maintain a law-abiding lifestyle. Our security group program remains in effect at the locations that we see here. Of course, we offer crime prevention through environmental design upon request by residents and businesses, but certainly unfortunately, at times it may be when it's too late, but we do offer valuable pointers and assistance to ensure that our residents and our businesses can protect themselves from becoming a victim of crime. Throughout Quarter 4, we had Operation Cold Start that occurred between January 20th and January 24th this year. As part of the program, our members were making patrols throughout the community to observe for vehicles that may be vulnerable to auto theft. Those are vehicles in the cold months that may be left running unattended, doors unlocked, or keys within the vehicle. As you can see, during the campaign, 33 vehicles were found left idling with keys in it and unlocked. 6 vehicles left idling with keys and locked that resulted in 12 interactions with owners. So when a vehicle is found insecure, our members make efforts to find out who the owner is, to advise them to secure their vehicle and provide education with respect to the risks that are at play when leaving vehicles unattended and insecure. And 41 occasions where information pamphlets were provided. So whether there was interaction or not, at least information was provided to those vehicles. And unfortunately, there were a couple of contacts that were repeat contacts with the same people. But again, we try to ensure that residents are aware that they should be vigilant in monitoring their property. Again, just not to leave attractive opportunities for potential crimes to be committed. You see before you some graphics with respect to our performance in these 3 areas. And again, as noted, the green bar graphs within the ranges. You can see with break and enters, while we had a bit of peak in Quarter 1, and Quarter 3, that we still remain largely within or below our historical averages, and certainly our crime numbers from last year. Theft of motor vehicle, as you can see throughout the year in Q4, was significantly reduced, as well as theft from motor vehicles. We saw overall reductions in Q4 from our 6-year averages in all 3 areas, with a slight increase with break and enters, so from 2 to 4. What I can say is that we have been making significant progress in all of these areas. When we skip forward a little bit here, I have some graphics here with respect to the vehicle thefts by type. Certainly pickup trucks are quite popular for an item to be taken in our area, and as well as a breakdown of the types of break and enters that are occurring within our community. Year-end results, as you can see, we saw significant reductions in all 3 areas. With respect to theft of motor vehicle and theft from motor vehicle, those reached 6-year lows. And our break and enters, again, were reduced, although a little bit slightly elevated from our last year's performance, but we're still reduced from our 6-year historical averages. It's further reduced from where we were targeting for the year. And again, when we target our 6-year averages, we want our crime levels to be as low as possible. But again, we want to strive to be in the lower end of what we see in our community for historical levels of crime. Overall, a success as far as I'm concerned in those areas. With respect to traffic safety, I've left information with respect to our performance and activities in the community that includes regular enforcement, our check stop program and bar walk programs. I can say our reportable collisions were reduced significantly. Some effect may be attributed towards the increase of reportable value for collisions from $2,000 to $5,000 in collisions, so that has some effect, but overall reportable collisions were reduced. We have seen an increase in injury collisions, not only through Q4, but overall for the year. So again, moving forward quite quickly through our report here, typically what we're seeing, the contributing factors are intersection offenses and distracted driving, which also includes rear end type collisions. Those are the ones that are more significant within our community that does cause collisions. But again, for the entire year, when we look at year-to-date injury collisions, there were 15 throughout the year in Strathmore that reported that way. I would still say that level, even elevated, is still comparably low for most communities. A little bit further up, I know I'm skipping ahead here a little bit, but I've given some collision factors that we see. Again, that gives a bit of a breakdown as far as what we're seeing in our reportable collisions and overall collisions in our community. And again, as you see, most of it is the driver error, distracted driving, and intersection type offenses. Overall for the year, we had mixed results. We had a significant increase or decreases in reportable collisions. As I mentioned, a slight increase in injury collisions, but overall our community is in great shape. Our community engagement remained consistent throughout Q4. I pointed out a few occasions or opportunities here within the report. Of course, attendance at high schools, providing information on drinking and driving type of instances and safe driving habits. This includes blood donations from our members. We were involved in the mainly driven by the fire department's efforts to support the food bank, but we participated as much as we could. So we had a few of our members, including myself, out and about dropping off bags and picking up food donations throughout the year. And we had an opportunity to participate and observe the play at the Strathmore High School. It's called New Blood. We were fortunate to have one of our Strathmore, one of our former Strathmore members who worked here, Sergeant Erwin McAdam, who's with our Indigenous Policing Services, attended and had a chance to have a good chat with our students that were participants and actors within the play. Moving along, we still have a community liaison program. It's still active. We speak to a number of community groups in the community, and we provide those liaison services should there be questions or concerns, and again, to receive feedback throughout the year. We still have a fairly robust diversion program for youth in the community. We're working forward as a bit of a preview with our youth community justice program here in Strathmore to try and strengthen some of our pre-charge diversion processes. So it gives our members an opportunity before submitting the criminal case to the courts to be adjudicated or at least diverted. This is an early opportunity before it gets to that level to implement these measures at a much lower level than what we normally see in the community. Our Alberta Capture program is something I continue to draw attention to. The information here is outlined within that I presented on prior council meetings. Again, we would like to see more usership within the program. It's very helpful for our members when conducting investigations. There's a number of ways to report crime. Our online crime reporting is active. really to skip forward to our Alberta RCMP app. All of these programs and more can be available through the Alberta RCMP app. You can find all sorts of information on our rave alerts, our crime mapping within the communities, our crime statistics, how to report to Crime Stoppers, finding detachments, media releases as they come out, and again, links to our capture program. Our Watch Clerk program throughout Q4 was fully staffed. Again, we're in a growing year, but again, a significant help to our frontline members to keep them on the road and spending as much time in our communities as much as possible. I've given you some information here and a graphic on our year-to-date calls for service, which remain fairly similar to what we saw last year. Slight elevation in our traffic investigations and violations issued in the year, as you can see in the report. But overall, in conclusion, our measures were largely met and exceeded this year, and we're looking forward to continued effort in these same areas going forward. I guess I'm available for questions, and I do understand there'll be a motion put before council with respect to input on policing priorities going into this current fiscal year. But again, I guess it's a matter of preference for questions first, and then perhaps what recommendations I may have for council to consider.
Thank you. Thank you for that report, Staff Sergeant. Really impressed with the reduction as far as motor vehicle theft and theft from vehicles. That's really good to see. I wanted to ask you a question about how's the response been to the doorbell and security camera registration program? Has it been increasing? Are more and more people getting involved in registering?
We've seen some slow increases in registering cameras. Excuse me. We've seen some small increases in the registration of cameras. It's not where we'd like to see it. We'd like to see more people registering, but again, it's just a matter of public education and getting a bit of buy-in from the public. I can't say that when our members are out investigating crimes that the public has been very supportive when they identify doorbell cameras or surveillance that might be available on the properties. Our residents have been very helpful with assisting our investigations. Again, I draw attention to it in our reports to again make it I guess to broadcast a bit, if you will, and to ensure that there is a level of awareness in the community that it does exist and people can sign up. Regardless, we've received some fantastic support out in the community.
And maybe some of us can share that on our councillor pages, my mayor page, that if we could get more people registering it, it gets the community working together to help in the police work. My other question was, we get a lot of stats on these various reports. How is Strathmore doing on drugs and dangerous drugs? I know it's probably a more difficult thing to measure as far as, usage, and they would show up in your habitual offenders possibly too, but I'm just wondering what your thoughts are as far as how Strathmore is doing in this. And I apologize if that's kind of an awkward or a tough question to really come up with a clear answer right now.
Certainly, it's not tough at all. I can tell you, I don't have direct numbers and correlations to provide you with statistics, but I can tell you in my observation, comparatively, Strathmore's pretty low with respect to, I guess, a drug abuse problem in our community. And that's not to say that illicit drugs aren't here, and that's not to say they aren't being used. In fact, our members executed an operation in Q1, which I've yet to report on or send out a media release, but there were 3 individuals that were arrested and charged for drug trafficking in our community. It is present, it is here, it is something that's ongoing, but as far as having overt negative impact or effect or a driver in actual crime in our community from people who live here, it's a very relatively low impact. What I can say, conversely, most of our crimes in our community and the areas we're measuring are committed by people who don't live here. They're traveling throughout our jurisdictions, they travel throughout the Calgary urban area. Our proximity, I guess, increases our exposure to those types of crimes and with area habitual offenders, and illicit drug use is a component of those types of crimes. So I guess to simplify the question, here in Strathmore with our residents, the people who are here, yes, drugs are present, they are here. It is not a major driver of crime in our community.
Thank you. And as a councillor who's in his 4th term, again, I always compliment you, but these reports are the most clear and concise and easily to understand reports that I ever received. So really good job on that. And I just want to leave before I go to Councillor Wiley. I imagine you and your officers are ramping up for Strathmore Stampede. There's going to be a big influx of people over that long weekend, so I imagine as before, you've got everything in preparation.
Yes, our plans are complete. We have enhanced resources that will be here augmenting the on-site private security of the grounds. Our musical ride will be here as well to participate in the parade and the performances that will be here. In fact, our commanding officer, our new commanding officer, Deputy Commissioner Trevor Drew, who I'm sure some of you are very familiar with,
Yep.
he will be here for the parade and for the Saturday musical ride performance, as well as our new criminal operations officer in Alberta, formerly our district officer, Wayne Nichols. He'll be here as well. And I'll be present as well. I can say it's not our first rodeo, so to speak, and things are very well in hand, and we're all looking forward to a very successful and safe weekend.
Thank you. I have full confidence in you and your officers. Councillor Peterson, Councillor Wiley, did you? No, Councillor Peterson.
I just wanted to say that your force and your leadership deserve congratulations and recognition for what you've accomplished in the community in terms of the safety net supports that you are so actively pursuing and have been pursuing since your time here, and the fact that your collaborations have borne fruit. And I see it from our very youngest members through our school system to our hospital people that are utilizing our hospitals and the support that you've given there, to the most marginalized and vulnerable people in our community through our overnight shelter. And because of the collaboration and the cooperation that your force has actively sought out, it is been able to mitigate the circumstances that would otherwise lead to very different circumstances in the report that we see in front of us today. And I know that that's not accidental and it's not incidental. It is a direct result of what your force has been able to accomplish in this community, and I'm really grateful for it, and you really truly do deserve recognition and congratulations for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Peterson. No other questions or comments? Thank you very much, Staff Sergeant.
And I do believe there is
Yes.
one more point coming in.
Councillor Wagoner.
I move that council approve the 2025-2026 RCMP policing priorities for the town of Strathmore.
Thank you for that motion. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
And that motion is carried. Thank you again, Staff Sergeant.
Thank you, Your Worship.
We move now to item 7, the consent agenda. Are there any items from the consent agenda that a councillor would like to see removed and discussed individually? Councillor Peterson?
If there are none, Your Worship, I'm prepared with a motion.
Okay, I'll just do a double check. Any Councillor
No, actually,
Wiley?
I was thinking about not doing it, but I would like to remove 9.6. I'm sorry to add to the length of the night, but I do have a question about 9.6.
Okay, thank you. Then Councillor Peterson?
Your Worship, I would move that council adopt the recommendations of the following agenda reports by an omnibus motion. 8.1, regular council meeting minutes of July 2nd. 9.1, service and service level inventory review. 9.4, annexation update. 9.5, tax arrears auction results and minutes. 9.7, water reservoir project financing amendment. 9.8, cultural wellbeing task force funding recommendation. 9.9, public art mural skate park skills for success. 12.1, thank you letter from the Minister of Indigenous Relations. 12.2, mid-sized cities mayor's caucus letter to Minister Ellis. 12.3, Marigold Library System value of your investment 2024 report. 12.4, Ringette Canada sponsorship letter. And 12.5, introduction letter, Alberta RCMP commanding officer.
Thank you very much. Now that we have a motion on the floor, is there discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And that motion is carried. So we now move to 9.6, budget policy number 1809. 9.2, sorry, real property transactions policy number 6610. Yes, you're right. Thank you, Councillor Langmead. Good evening and welcome, Christy.
Good evening, Your Worship and members of Council. I'm before you this evening to present the real property transactions policy. As council is aware, the land sale policy was rescinded earlier this year as the policy was significantly outdated. Administration endeavored to return to council with a proposed new policy for consideration at that time. Administration has worked to create a new policy resulting in the draft before you this evening. The proposed real property transactions policy governs how the town will approach the overall management of the town's real property portfolio going forward, and continues to afford council the ultimate authority to make decisions respecting any real property transactions contemplated by the town. The nature of transactions covered under the proposed policy are the acquisition and disposition of real property, as well as other agreements such as leases relating to the use of town-owned real property by a third party. In support of the proposed policy, administration has established a real property transactions procedure, which will set out the process that administration will follow in respect of gathering and analyzing information relating to the proposed real property transactions. The procedure is intended to guide administration on internal review prior to bringing a recommendation forward to council for decision. Given that there are no further committee of the whole meetings scheduled prior to the end of this term, administration is asking council for its feedback on the proposed policy, such that it may be incorporated and the policy brought back to council for consideration in September. That said, if council determines that it is satisfied with the policy in its current form, council may approve the policy as presented. I appreciate your time. Happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Do we have questions this evening regarding this policy? Councillor Peterson.
I'm just ready with a motion, Your Worship, if no one has any questions. I would move that council receive this report as information and direct administration to return to a meeting in September 2025 with the real property transactions policy. And thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And that motion is carried. I believe we move now to item 9.3. Intermunicipal Collaboration Framework, ICF, with the villages of Rockyford, Standard, and Hazar, terms of reference. Good evening, Mr. Dugdale.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to present the terms of reference for the development of an intermunicipal collaboration framework with the villages of Rockyford, Standard, and Hazar. The initiative aligns with our strategic priorities of community development, economic development, and supports our commitment to regional cooperation, as well as efficient service delivery. With the continued growth in Strathmore and surrounding areas, and continued pressure to provide efficient municipal services, it's timely to formalize our working relationships with neighboring municipalities. The ICF will help ensure municipal services are delivered cost-effectively, helping residents across all communities. Some of the key principles of the ICF would be mutual respect and equity among municipalities, clear communication and trust throughout the process, collaboration and cooperation to share communities and resources, environmental stewardship, economic responsiveness. As well, the ICF itself will be a living document approach that allows for future updates. In terms of operational and financial implications, staff time will be needed moving forward to coordinate meetings and prepare documentation. Financial impacts are minimal at this point and limited to administrative coordination and potential meeting costs. In terms of next steps, once approved by all participating councils, administrations will begin scheduling meetings to develop the ICF collaboratively with the other villages. Public communications will be used to keep residents informed, though formal engagement is not required under the Act for this process. And tonight we're recommending that Council approve the terms of reference as presented in the attachment, allowing staff to move forward with this important regional initiative. And for Council's information, the villages have all approved the terms of reference as presented. I'll answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dugdale, and thank you to you and your staff for all the work you've done on this. This is something that is a new thing with the villages in the town of Strathmore, but we feel that there's a lot of benefits that can impact all the communities. So thank you, Councillor Wiley.
In terms of next steps, will the councils have to meet, or will there be committees formed to meet, or administration will be able to work it out and then make recommendations to the councils?
Through the chair, if council would recall, we did go through an ICF process with Wheatland County relatively recently. The process would be similar to that, largely driven by administrations first, looking at all the services we provide, as well as the villages, and then look at how we can share and collaborate. And then, of course, there would be meetings of council to kind of finalize whatever changes, agreements come within the ICF.
Thank you, Councillor Wiley and Mr. Dugdale. Councillor Peterson.
Your worship, I would move that council approve the terms of reference for the development of an intermunicipal collaboration framework with the villages of Rockyford, Standard, and Azar as presented in attachment 1. And if I could speak to the motion. I am so happy to see this before us. It's, our CAO and our senior leadership team speak often and eloquently about coalition of the willing, and it's so beautiful to see this. And I think about the potentials of how we can enhance our rural reimagined logo and vision for our own community through working with rural communities such as these in terms of 4-H and cattle shows and tourism, ag tourism that we can possibly do, and then looking to our recreational supports, our mutual support systems, and looking forward to building a collaborative farmers market process so that we can really and truly address food insecurity in our community through that process. So I am so very, very excited to see this initiative come to fruition, and I'm really grateful for the work of your staff and the staffs of our adjoining communities in bringing this forward.
Thank you. Any further comments? We have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
And that motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you. We move now to item 9.6, budget policy number 1809. Liana, you're speaking to this. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council. I was not prepared to have a presentation tonight as it was on the consent agenda, so if you guys have any questions, I'd like to take those now.
Councillor Wiley.
Sure, mine's just regarding an updated 8.2.1, and I've got it on page 201 of our agenda, but it's also in the policy as well. Did I say 201? I meant 205. So 8.2.1, I just needed help understanding it. So the basic, I was the one who was kind of pushing for this, that our tax ratio between non-residential and residential would be as close to par as possible and would not exceed more than 2 times the residential rate. That's still a little high for my liking, but I'm accepting that. I just didn't understand this middle insert part. As close to par as possible to the provincial education tax rates based on the equalization. I just didn't understand that insert, that clause.
So with the provincial education, they set the bar. This is what they're seeing based on their assessments, what they have for their increase, their assessment change. We also will see different assessment changes. If we grow faster than what the province does overall on the average, we would see a larger impact with here in the community.
So do they only tax assess residential properties? Is that maybe where I'm confused?
No, they tax residential and non-residential properties.
So how come it matters? Why does it need to be in this spot?
Yeah, it is. Yes, we're talking about the equalized assessment and the changes within the equalized assessment.
So this doesn't refer to keeping the tax ratio as close to par as possible. Sorry, I'm just showing my ignorance here. I just don't understand this.
Councillor Peterson.
So I think there's a difference to what you're talking about, which is trying to keep the residential and commercial closer together. This doesn't necessarily address that, not this section.
That is correct. Council always can change with the tax split, with the property tax bylaw, if we want to go more to the Non-residential, you always have that option within that part of our process where council can turn around and say that we would like to see a larger split. We would then have to come back and revise this policy if we were going over the 2.
But this policy for now does state we'll try and keep them as on par as possible.
That is correct.
Okay, so I don't need to understand the second part, but that is the intent of the policy.
That is correct.
I'll go with it. Thank you.
But it would be good to ask for in-servicing for future councils on equalized assessment. That's really important. I think you make a really good point.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor. Councillor Wiley?
I don't think the motion is on the floor, is it yet?
Oh, I thought you did. Councillor
I can put it
Peterson.
on the floor.
Okay, thank you.
I move the council adopt budget policy 1809 as presented in attachment 1.
Thank you. Any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
And that motion is carried. We move now to item 10, bylaws. I don't believe we have any bylaws tonight. Item 11, councillor information and inquiries. 11.1, questions between councillors and council statements. Seeing none. 11.2, board and committee reports. Seeing none tonight. 11.3, question and answer period. We move then to 11.4. We have no administrative inquiries, Jonathan, I don't believe, and no notices of motion. That brings us to a motion to go in Canmore. That's where I'm from. A motion to go in camera to finish off our discussion items. Councillor Langmaid.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I move that council go in camera at 9:08 p.m. to discuss items 13.1, 13.2, 13.3, 13.4, and 13.5 of the regular council meeting agenda.
Thank you for that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
And that motion is carried. We are going in camera. Thank you to all the people at home. Our gallery that is full tonight.
And Your Worship, if I might just make a motion for a brief recess.
Absolutely.
Thank you.